Welcome everybody, welcome to another episode of Lazio Lounge. Lazio just finished his match against Apollon, first match of the season in Europe League. A victory 2-1 for Simone Inzaghi's team. A lot of new starter today. I'm Vittorio Campanile, with me once again Rami Algendi. Hello Rami, how are you?
Hey Vittorio, I'm fine, thanks. It wasn't an easy match like everyone thought it's going to be, but it was a good start and good 3 points.
Yeah, I said it already last time when we were talking about the Euro League group phase. Already last year, people were saying that it wasn't an easy group. Then when Lazio started winning, they changed their mind. I think they're going to do the same thing this season because Olympique Marseille lost at home and Frankfurt was 10 men since the beginning of the second half. And today, Lazio played, well, we're going to talk about it, but Apollon is not an easy match. It's not an easy team. They are very well organized. They have a very experienced team. They beaten a lot of teams to qualify till here. And it was a complicated match. I thought in the end, Lazio played well. Of course, there have been some issue. We're going to talk about it. But, I think it was a good performance from Lazio tonight.
Yeah, I agree. To be honest, Apollon surprised me today. I think they're a very good team. And, not many people watch them or know them well, but I think they're a very good team. The second half, they controlled the second half completely, I think. It wasn't an easy game at all. And yeah, like you mentioned, there was a big surprise today. 10-men Frankfurt beat Marseille in France. So I think that's a good result for us as well. I think that helps. We'll talk about Lazio today, of course, and there was a lot of things I didn't like, especially in the second half. We'll mention them.
Yeah, I think we're going to go in the second half. But first of all, I want to say that it was good for me to see all those changes, Proto starting, Murgia, Badel, Durmisi finally from the beginning, and Caicedo, obviously. I think it's important to give a chance to the players that haven't played that much this season so far, and at the same time, give the message. And I think this is something Simone Inzaghi is really good. Even if not the starters are starting the match, still we want to win it because it's Europe League and we still care. And you can see that even if those players didn't play that much, they gave everything today, and that was really good because it shows how the group is all heading in the same direction. There is not, as you can see, for example, in some other teams like Napoli last season, players that felt left alone and didn't ever have the chance to prove themselves. So I thought that was really positive.
Yeah, I agree. Inzaghi made a lot of changes today, 8 changes in the lineup. At first, I thought that was going to be too much to start 8 players for who didn't play together this season. But I was impressed with a lot of them, especially, to be honest, I don't really like him, but Caicedo played really well today, especially in the first half. His finishing was not good like usual, but his link-up play was really good with Alberto in the first. He would have scored 2 or 3 goals if he was able to finish some of these link-up plays. But I also was very impressed by Badel. I think he controlled the midfield really by Inzaghi taking him off and playing Lucas. When he did that in the second half, we lost completely the midfield and the control of the game, and Apollon took away the game from that. I was very surprised. I don't know why he changed him, to be honest. Is he not fit enough to play 90 minutes, or because he was booked in the second half, he was afraid he got another yellow card? I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I thought the reason was that we saw Inzaghi do this very often, especially when he's a defender midfielder like Lucas Leiva or Badel in this case. When he gets a yellow card, and especially in the second half when maybe he's a little bit tired, the fatigue comes out. He's very concerned of finishing the match in 10 men, and so he took him off. But I want to start from the first half. As you were saying, a lot of players starting for the first time, and this usually creates some confusion, some problems for the team to play like normal, because a lot of new players, they're not used to play. But I thought that in the first half, Lazio played well. It wasn't an incredible performance by Lazio, but to be honest, so far this season we didn't see Lazio play that well. So I thought it was a good performance, and Durmisi was a nice surprise. I thought he did well, and as you were saying, Caicedo played really well. The point is, and this is something we have to talk about. Caicedo, as you were saying, is quite good as an assist man. The assist he did today was terrific.
Yeah, he did it twice. One Luis Alberto scored and the other one was missed.
But he had a couple of good chances and he missed. And Ciro Immobile is good in both of them, and that's why you feel that when Ciro Immobile is not playing and Caicedo is playing, what is missing? Assists, perfect. He even give a help to the rest of the team when he's defending, but it's finishing. He's the striker. He should be the main target to finish the action, and it didn't happen. And it's not the first time.
Yeah, I liked his attitude today. He looked he was at it from the start of the game. He was aggressive. He wanted to take the ball. He even got angry for the first time. I think I saw him. Luis Alberto didn't pass the ball to him, so he was very angry with him.
Hello? I have a problem with my microphone. Do you hear me, Rami?
I hear you, Vittorio.
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, it was a very good performance by Caicedo overall. I mean, he didn't score, which is not the maximum, the best from a striker. But
sorry, Vittorio, even the penalty, he was very good. He won the penalty on himself. He went after the ball and he got the penalty, and that was the reason we won, I think, the penalty. So he was good.
Yeah, and he wanted to take the penalty because...
Yeah, he wanted to take it.
And I think he deserved it. The only problem is I don't remember how accurate he is from a free kick, from a penalty.
I think the other problem is that Immobile really needed a goal. He had to take that penalty. He needed to score, I think. But I'm not really impressed with Immobile so far this season. He even got another chance in the second half, and he blasted the ball to Alisder in the stands, I think. He wasn't that good today again. I don't know what's going on with Immobile.
Well, I thought, and this is one of the problems Lazio had in the second half, I thought that Caicedo was so tired that he couldn't move. And so instead of Caicedo playing behind of Ciro Immobile, it was the other way around. Ciro Immobile playing behind Caicedo, and so he had to move around and hardly ever be in the box. And he's more dangerous when he's in the box instead of outside. And so that's why a little bit he struggled. But I mean, Luis Alberto, Ciro Immobile, as Milinkovic-Savic as well, they're still not the same player of last season. And that's one of the reasons why Lazio is not performing as well of the last season.
Especially Milinkovic again today. He did nothing. I don't think he did anything at all. I don't know what's going on with him. Maybe it's his new contract that he's gonna sign, or I don't know. He still hasn't found his form from last season, and he doesn't look very much interested anymore in the game. I don't know. What do you think?
I think that as he has a very big body, it takes time to find the perfect shape, the condition. The problem with him is that he always tries to do something special. He always tries to do the trick.
Too much.
Yeah, and especially when you are not on top of your form, it's difficult. It's difficult to do it because you're already not fit enough and you struggle. So, yeah, I think today the big difference is he understood that he wasn't playing that well. So instead of attacking, he came a little bit back and played with the other midfielder and was good in recovering the ball. So I thought
but he's at his best when he's going forward. His shooting, his passing, even his headers. We don't see that anymore so far. We didn't see any of that this season so far.
Well, he had the first 20 seconds when Murgia had that chances. I thought he did very well there with the header. Then after that, he didn't have that many chances. So, I mean, let's be honest. Lazio's playing well, but because it's well organized. But to go to the next level, you have to have your star that have to perform well. And Lazio stars at the moment are Luis Alberto, Immobile, Milinkovic-Savic, and they are not playing that well. So that's the reason why Lazio didn't play that well and was struggling.
I agree.
We have the first question from Massier. I hope I pronounced it well. What do you think about Caicedo, guys? Was he the best or the worst player today? Seemed to be both for me. No, I think he wasn't the worst. I think he played well. From a striker, you hope finish. He scores as well, but overall he had a positive night.
Yeah, I think he means that he's the worst because he missed those chances. But I disagree this time. He like I said, he was very at it today. He wanted to prove himself. He wanted to score a goal. He was fighting for every ball. He was very aggressive. The assist for the first goal was brilliant. It was a great assist. And even the penalty he won by himself by fighting with the defenders. So I think today he was good. He was one of the good players today.
Yeah, I totally agree. And he was fighting, which is something I don't want to say he doesn't do, but it's something that you don't see from him. You know, he looks very calm when he plays. But
I think I know why. Last season he knew that he was the substitute for Immobile. But this season, he hasn't been playing that much. He's not even coming on from the sub. So I think that he feels like Inzaghi is not going to play him that much. So he wanted to prove himself. So he played 100% today. I think that might be a factor in
maybe to show that he deserves to play a little bit more. And maybe after tonight he will. Especially because Luis Alberto scored, but I didn't think he played that well. Again, he looks far away from the player that we saw last year. And is it only a physical condition? Could it be a mental condition as well? I don't know.
I hope today's goal is going to help him because he needed it. Maybe what's going on with Italy as well is not helping. Like I said, he doesn't look like he's believing in himself these days. I think the attacker needs to be believing in himself and to have the team believe in him. So he's scoring goals and playing well. I think he had a very slow start to the season this season, but hopefully he's gonna.
Yeah, I think you're right. Especially a player like Caicedo needs to feel the confidence when he's playing because he's trying these tricks. You know, he's trying very difficult things, and you know, if you don't have the confidence, it's difficult to perform like that. But he already scored 2 weeks ago, so you know, we hope he improves. At least he scored today and give Lazio 3 points with a Ciro Immobile's goal. Durmisi as well, especially in the first half, played really well. I was impressed.
Me too. I wrote him down. He was very good today. His speed going forward is very impressive, but he needs to work on his delivery. He reminds me of Lukaku. He's very fast. He's forward. He likes to run on the line, but he needs to work on his delivery to have a better balls. But he was very impressive today. Even defensively, he was good.
Yeah, I think we saw from him today what we were hoping to see from Marusic, you know, very fast player that start running, and for the defender it's pretty much impossible to catch up with him. But yeah, Inzaghi at a certain point in the first half complained, saying that there weren't enough players in the box. There was only Caicedo, so he asked Milinkovic-Savic and Murcia to get in more often. That's why, even because the cross were not creating any big chances. But I think Durmisi was playing well. One of the problems we had in the second half is that Durmisi, Caicedo, Bastos, a lot of those players that didn't play a lot this season had cramps. They couldn't run anymore in the second half.
Yeah.
And you can feel that after a very good, positive first half, especially with speed, etc., the team was knackered. They couldn't move
Very
anymore.
tired.
And
That's
go on.
the problem with playing 8 players from the start who haven't played, don't have any minutes in their legs. It's a big risk, because in the second half, like we saw in the last 10 or 15 minutes, they are all gonna be tired. They can't recover anymore. They can't run anymore. Even Bastos in the 77th minute was having cramps, and we had all our substitution. That was a worry because he might have come off, and we played with 10. But they managed to go on. But it is a risk to play.
Yeah. I think.
But I have a question.
Yep.
About that. Are we going to play with this 11 players against the likes of Marseille and Frankfurt? Because it's going to be very difficult.
I don't know. I mean, Apollon is a very organized team. It's not very easy to beat them, and giving more time, more playing time to these players, they will improve and they will play better and be more fit. And this has to, and obviously show that they deserve to play more. You know, like Durmisi. I think after the performance of today, Inzaghi knows that he can play even in the Serie A. Same thing Murcia. I thought Murcia played very well today. So there's a little bit of risk, obviously, playing with this team against Frankfurt. But at the same time, you have to think, if you want to go and win the Europe League and go reach the Champions League in the Serie A, you have to rotate the players. And I think this season Lazio has the players. And let's not forget that Berisha still didn't play a minute. And I think he's a difference maker. You know, I think he will, when he starts playing, you can see a very different Lazio. Said this, I'm not sure that 8 new players will play against Frankfurt next Thursday. I think maybe there's going to be a little bit a mix of them, but a little bit like it's happening in the goal. I think Strakosha will play in Serie A and Coppa Italia probably, and Proto will play in Europe League. I think there are going to be players like that, like Basta, for example, will be the same. You know, he will play in Europe League, while Patrick and Marusic will play in Serie A. We have Alistair, I think. Alistair, are you there with us? He still have to connect. Alistair went to see the match from the Stadium Olimpico. I hope everybody saw the video he did before the match started. Again, to everybody in Italy, I'm sorry, Alistair brought the rain from Scotland, so you'll have to get used to it. But yeah, I think that's going to be a solution. I don't know, Rami, if you agree with me. I think
I agree. I think he has to rotate in the Europa League. Of course, he doesn't have to make too many changes like today, because Apollon is very good, but Marseille, even losing today, are still a good team, and Frankfurt showed today that they are a very strong team with even 10 players they won away in France. So I think he might play some of today's players like Durmisi, like Basta, even Proto. I liked him today. So he has to integrate some of the Serie A players into the Europa League.
Alistair, are you with us?
Good evening. Yes, I'm now with you. Sorry for the late entry, but apparently it's fashionable, so here we are.
Okay, Rami was finishing. Sorry, Rami, to interrupt you.
Yeah, it's fine. Even Correa, we didn't talk about him. He was absent today. I don't know what's going on. He might come in like Berisha.
Yeah. He was suspended because he got the red card last year with Sevilla in Europe, so he couldn't play tonight, which was unlucky.
Sense.
That's why Luis Alberto played. I thought, with Correa, Luis Alberto wouldn't play today. Alistair, what did you see from the Stadio Olimpico? What was your impression of the match today?
Well, what did I see? I saw quite a lot, really. It was, it's almost the same thing again, really. It's kind of Groundhog Day at this point, where you think you're watching one game and then all of a sudden a different game appears. And Lazio were completely dominant first half. And then, so we all saw what happened in the second half. And there are two ways of looking at this, I suppose. One of which is the negative way, and talking about the drop-off in the performance. And obviously the fact that it was still fairly open towards the end. But on the other hand, given how many changes Inzaghi made, apologies, I don't know what you've already discussed so far, but considering how many changes, is a good result. And I think if you'd offered us 2-1 win at the start of the night, we would have taken it. So there is that.
Yeah, as we said, Lazio played well in the first half. Maybe it should have finished when they had the chances in the first half. Score another goal just to send a message to Apollon, we want to finish it now. And in the second half, as we were saying before, a lot of players were knackered. Durmisi, Badel, Bastos, Caicedo as well. They couldn't run anymore. And, if you have 2-3 players, it's really, really difficult to play football again. And I don't know. I can understand from a certain point of view, you bringing Ciro Immobile in because he wants to score, etc. But I thought that at that point, maybe it was better to take off someone else instead of Luis Alberto, maybe bringing on, Cataldi to give more power to the midfield and control better the ball than Lazio did after Luis Alberto came out.
Yeah, I felt the midfield was getting completely overrun, actually, and that when you saw Lucas warming up and being prepared to come in, might be about to happen is for him to line up alongside Badel, which would have been a more negative move, but would have gone some way to actually anchoring that midfield a bit and providing a bit more security. And having two players there who can sit, but who can also kind of launch attacks, isn't the worst idea when you're in a position where you're protecting a lead and you're up against it a bit. So I wasn't convinced that going two up top at that point was the best idea. But I think the plan all along was to give Alberto a rest, one way or another. And I do wonder if, because Caicedo was having a pretty good game, Inzaghi was kind of weighing up all the different things he wanted from this game, which is he would have wanted Caicedo to be happy and to play as much as he could, but he's also wanting Immobile to score. He's also wanting his first team players to get a bit of rest here and there too. So I think, that's another positive thing is we've actually come away from this game with a lot of these things that Inzaghi would have wanted having happened. Immobile has got a goal. Caicedo hasn't, but he did have a very good game, I thought. And on top of that, there have been some legs rested here and there and some debuts as well. So, good things have happened, but I think you're right to point that out because I don't think tactically it was the most sensible move at the time.
I thought of the players that didn't play a lot this season. The worst on the pitch was Bastos. Again, especially in the first half, he looked very distracted. And this is not the first time that happens. I can understand you can be distracted sometimes, but if it's the third time, you should come in the pitch and say, okay, I have to remember to be concentrate all 95 minutes instead of, getting distracted. And funny, when he got the cramps, he played much better. Rami,
Yeah.
do you agree with my point of view with about Bastos?
Yeah, I agree. I think the two worst players today were Bastos and even Cáceres. I didn't like him at all today. He looked very nervous with the ball. He wasn't defending well. There was a situation where the Apollon had a free kick and they almost scored with a header. And the Cáceres was very late. It was his man who almost scored, and he was very late coming up with him. So I didn't really like Cáceres today, and I said that to Alistair before. I don't think Cáceres is a defender. I think he's a left back or even a right back. He performs very well in that position, and I told, why don't we change the formation and play in a game like this with four at the back and see what happens.
I don't know. I agree with your point of view of Cáceres' performance today. I thought that both of Cáceres and Bastos have the same mistake, have the same problem. They get distracted. Sometimes they're too overconfident, as Cáceres did in the first half. Well, he had a comfortable ball in his feet, and instead he juggled it, and Apollon had a counter-attack. And I thought at a certain point it was pretty much Acerbi defending against everybody else, because Bastos from one side and Cáceres from the others were only making mistakes. And I thought you saw at a certain point Acerbi, shouting at Bastos, and I felt a little bit sorry for Acerbi, because he was in that situation with everybody around him making mistakes.
Yeah.
And
even the Empoli game, when he was shouting at Wallace. So
yeah, but
he keeps shouting at everybody.
After seeing Bastos today, I say, okay, yeah, it's right that Wallace start, because he's better.
Do you think that?
Yeah, I think Wallace makes less mistakes than Bastos.
Maybe, but I think both of them are not that good at all.
I think we are too harsh with Wallace, but maybe Bastos physically could be even better, but maybe like Cáceres, he's overconfident, and this leads to mistakes, and he does them often. So, that would be the only thing I would try to change for Frankfurt. I don't know if probably I would try to play again with the same starting team, with Correa instead of Luis Alberto, and if possible, but give a start even to Berisha.
Back.
Alistair, are you back with us?
I am, yeah. Sorry, I was trying to keep my microphone muted as I went through the heaviest traffic in Rome, but I think it's hopefully dying down now. I've been listening. I agree with what you've been saying. Yeah, Bastos and Cáceres both made mistakes tonight. And I think the annoying thing really is more that I think Inzaghi must be tearing his hair out about this kind of thing, because it's all self-inflicted. And I said at half-time on Twitter that Lazio were risking to be their own worst enemy. And I think that's been the case for a while defensively, where actually even if the structure is sound and the team's built in a way to tactically to soak up attacks, we have a collection of defenders who are capable of making bad mistakes at any given moment, and there's nothing you can really do about that. Coaching wise, I don't think you can try and improve defenders' concentration, but it's easier said than done. But I don't think it's. I wouldn't go as far as saying, Bastos shouldn't be in the. That, but as I've said it before, I'll say it again. He's playing in the wrong position. He should be up front.
Well, he had his chances today, yeah? I thought about you when Bastos had the chances on the corner kick and he missed. And I don't know. Maybe he could have left it because Caicedo was right behind him. Maybe Caicedo could have scored. But yeah, let's say that like this Lazio defense is very dangerous because both Cáceres and Bastos get too distracted. And Acerbi had another amazing match, but he cannot do it all alone every time. Today we were lucky, I think, overall. We deserve to win, but we have been lucky in a couple of occasions. Maybe against Frankfurt, we need to step up. We need to do something different.
Yeah, I think there's no doubt that that's probably going to be the easiest game we get in this Europa League group, and that's the most worrying thing, really. I mean, having been sat pretty close to the away support all evening tonight, there weren't loads of them, but my God, the ones who were there made their presence felt. I mean, they're a very noisy, colourful bunch. Had a drum with them, singing a lot of songs. You could hear them from outside the stadium very clearly. And I thought there were a lot more of them than there were when I first arrived at the stadium because of the noise that was coming out from the away end. So I think actually going over there and the atmosphere that they're going to produce will probably bring another level out to that team that have already caused us problems. So it's a good start. You know, I think playing them at home was the ideal opening fixture, but it's going to require more, I think, from this team to continue to get these results.
When you say more, Alistair, you think that Inzaghi next Thursday should change and put more starters in, or?
No, I think, I mean, the thing I saw, the report I filed tonight on the game had some analysis at the end, and that was based on the strength and depth of this team and how that's improved. And this is something we've discussed before, but if you look at the team tonight, on paper, compared to a Lazio B team last season, it's a better team already. And that's before you even put in Correa or Berisha. So I think the second string team is good enough to get results in these games, and it's good enough to win this Europa League group. But I think all those players who are having kind of their first game of the season tonight, they just need more minutes in the legs to get to that point. Because, you know, the likes of Bastos, it was clear he was missing a bit of match sharpness. Because it's one thing doing well on the training ground, but another thing actually getting on the pitch. So I think that'll probably come with time, but I am confident that the depth of this team is a lot better than it was.
Yeah, don't forget that 2 days after next week's game in Frankfurt, we have the derby. So I think the team selection in the Europa League game is gonna be affected by the derby game.
Yeah. Another not happy chance for Lazio. I mean, all the time there is the derby, there's often a Europa League match on Thursday. So, very unfortunately. But yeah, I think overall, as Alistair was saying, and this is what Tare did this transfer market, right? Build up, give more option to Simone Inzaghi, especially in the midfield. I thought Murgia played well today. I was hoping to see Cataldi coming in because
Me too.
Because I would love to see Murgia Cataldi play together. But I thought Murgia had another very good match, another positive performance.
Yeah, I really wanted to see Cataldi play today. I don't know why he did. Why did he change Lucas? Why didn't he change Cataldi for Padel and give him a chance? I don't know. Even Rossi, I don't know. What's the situation with these two?
Well, Rossi has hardly been called so far.
He was in the squad today.
No, he wasn't.
He wasn't?
No, he wasn't in the bench. And what I was saying, and Cataldi, yeah, he played against Napoli a little bit. That was positive. We're gonna see. I think he's gonna have his chances. It's good to see him to see him playing, though. It would be important for him and for Lazio seeing how good it is. But I wanted to say one thing, because I get the impression people is convinced that Apollon is an easy team. I'm not convinced that Apollon is such an easy team. They're well organized. Of course, they don't have big names, but I don't think that Frankfurt or Olympique Marseille are going to win easily. Especially looking, Olympique Marseille was seen as an amazing team. They lost today at home against Frankfurt, and Frankfurt was 10 men down in all the second half, and they couldn't have a chance in the second half. So, I'm not convinced that Olympique Marseille is so good, and at the same time, Apollon is not that easy. It's not an easy team to play against. So, again, I expect to see much better from Lazio, because we know how they can perform, but it's not easy against Apollon, and of course, playing away, it's going to be really complicated.
It's worth remembering as well that fixture-wise, Frankfurt got a little bit lucky because they were playing in an empty Stade Velodrome tonight. Marseille were undergoing a stadium ban, so there wasn't anyone in the ground. So that does obviously take a lot away from home advantage, particularly for a team like Marseille.
Can I say something? As Buffon said a couple of years ago, before playing against Celtics, I don't remember a fan scoring a goal. So
Yeah,
obviously they can help, but they don't score.
Yeah, but the point is that you would rather play Marseille in front of an empty stadium as an away team than you would play them with tens of thousands of angry Frenchmen shouting at you.
Yeah.
Angry Frenchmen.
/ Algerians.
Yeah, there are a lot of them there. I know.
So, I mean, I think you're right. I do think just generally people kind of group teams, especially in the Europa League, because there are a lot more teams that, neutral fans won't be aware of. So you do run the risk of kind of grouping teams in your mind into the easy games and the hard games. But I think the group we've got from the start was pretty clear that there wasn't going to be an easy game here. It's a bit of a shame because it is possible. And, it's never going to be easy, but, if you compare the test of playing Zulte Waregem and Vitesse last year to playing Frankfurt and Apollon, I think it's a different level.
To be honest, and we said it already last time, even last season, they start saying Lazio group is difficult, and then when Lazio win easily, everybody say, it was easy. It's going to happen, could be happening the same thing this year, right? Because if Lazio wins against Frankfurt and they are pretty much first, nearly qualified, I believe people are going to start saying, Frankfurt is not good, Olympique Marseille is rubbish, and so on. This is a tough group, like it was last year. Simply Lazio, if Lazio achieve it, arrive first, it's because Lazio played better and it wasn't an easy group. So this is the thing that annoys me more, because I'm sure that it's going to happen if Lazio arrive first in the group.
Have you talked about Caicedo yet?
Yeah.
Do you want to say something?
Well, yeah, I think you've got to give the guy credit when it's due, and I think he had one of his better games tonight without scoring. I mean, the problem is you can never really judge it as being a really effective performance, because when he did get his chances to score, he didn't, and he lacks the composure in front of goal to really make that happen. But his link-up play was excellent, and we've said this before, I suppose, is that he is a good striker as a target man, as a link-up player, but that's not what we need to make the system work. And his assist was amazing for Alberto, though. Got to give him credit for that. And then the one really nice finish he did make, the offside flag was up. And I did just feel bad for him at that point. But I was watching him off the ball quite a lot tonight, just to have a look at his body language, and he does seem very agitated. He does seem like a guy who's got the weight of the world on his shoulders. And when a pass wouldn't come through to him, or a cross didn't make it to him, or a defender cut it out, he was looking extremely angry about it. And even when the goal went in, his reaction was more kind of one of anger, or kind of told you so kind of reaction, rather than a celebration. So I think this guy needs to score a goal. I think that's going to help so much for him. Problem is, he's not very good at doing it, so I'm not really sure when that's going to happen.
Luis Alberto Luis Alberto just said in the mix zone, Caicedo is the man of the match tonight. We are very good.
I agree. I was going to say to Alistair that we did praise him in the beginning of the show. And one thing that was very good today is that he was fighting and he wanted to play and he was at it from the start to finish. That's the difference. We know that he's not going to be better in finishing. We know that he's not scoring too many goals, but he was very interested in the game today. I think that was the factor.
Yeah, definitely. Because he does have points to prove, and he knows what people are saying about him. And unfortunately, in some games already this season, he's been whistled by his own fans and things, which I don't think he deserves. That kind of treatment. It's fair enough to criticize. And to be honest, I think Inzaghi just needs, if he's going to use him, which he is going to do this season because he has no other choice. Obviously, he knows a lot more about tactics than I do, but the way I see it, he's better suited to altering the framework of our attacks to suit him, rather than just putting him in instead of Immobile and expecting him to do the same thing. And what I mean by that is that I think if we pushed an extra midfielder closer up to him, so it's not just him and Alberto, if it was a 3-4-2-1 with, say, Milinkovic up near him too, I think he would be very effective at linking those two together and giving them someone to play off, because their link up this season hasn't been great compared to the heights it reached last year. So I think we just have to accept that he's not a guy who sits on the shoulder of the defender and gets in behind and scores with one chance. He's never going to be that player, and play to his strengths, basically.
Yeah, maybe Inzaghi can use them both to play behind him. We'll have to wait and see. I think Tari talked about Caicedo actually before the game and said that he was everything that was said in the transfer windows in the paper was not true, and that they wanted him to stay, and that he was very good in training and so on. But he needs to transfer that into the games that he played.
Yeah, Tare said also that the new contract of Ciro Immobile and Milinkovic-Savic are close. They should be signed in the next couple of days, which I think it's a very positive thing. Yeah, we talked as well of Milinkovic-Savic, Alistair, when you weren't there, and we said that we didn't like his performance. We think physically he's far behind, and he's maybe trying too hard to win the game on his own, which at this point he's not able to do.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's an expectation on him now, especially after the attention on him over the summer. And I don't think he's really dealing with that added attention all too well. And yeah, I see what you mean. I mean, he seems like he wants to do something really spectacular to kind of justify it. And so you see him hitting very ambitious shots from long distance when there are better options available. You see him playing tonight. He at one point played a really clever kind of reverse cross in behind the defence, but the problem is no one clever ball, but you can't just expect people to know. So yeah, I think he's another one. I said Caicedo needs a goal. I think Milinkovic needs a big performance to get him back to that level, and he does appear to be a guy who's kind of straddling around searching for form, and he doesn't quite know how to find it.
I think he needs to go back to basics. He needs to play the simple ball. He needs to find the simple pass. He needs he doesn't need to make everything spectacular. That's his problem, I think. Even last season, he tried to do some of that, but he needs to go back to what he was doing before. Then he can do the tricks and everything else.
Yeah, I think that's a really valid point. I think he does overplay things a bit, and he's a guy who enjoys playing football the way it should be played. But sometimes you're right. You just need to do the basics right and build from there.
Yeah.
Shall we talk about Senad Lulic and what he missed?
I knew you were going to say that.
Oh my God.
I couldn't believe it. Really, I couldn't believe it.
There was this kind of collective gasp in the press box when I've not heard a noise like that before, coming from a group of journalists. It was just nobody saw it coming. Everyone was already basically halfway through their sentences saying that he got the third goal.
Yeah.
I mean, it was incredible. I don't know what he was thinking. I mean, why does he check back in the first place? I mean, he's very one-footed, I suppose, but yeah, it's quite a miss. It's quite. I feel really bad for anyone out there who put a bet on Lazio winning 3-1 tonight. I think Senad Lulic owes them all a beer.
Yeah, I think he wanted to be clever, and I guess now we know why he's not that clever.
I honestly think he thought he would have scored already. He didn't think that the defender was able to put the feet from there. And if you see from the TV, you see that at that point he doesn't have that much space to put the ball. So it's quite easy for the defender if he doesn't go down to save it. But I mean, after what happened to Lazio against Empoli, who was at Marusic, this one again, I mean, it's too much. We have to do something. Inzaghi has to do a special training when the ball is, when there's not the keeper, do something, train them to score, because these are easy goals that can cost you a lot,
Yeah, in the last two games we had like the last 5 or 6 minutes, it was very tough and very dramatic, missing goals and then almost conceding.
Yeah,
so that's 2 games in a row now.
Yeah, because the team is tired, and in September it's normal. A lot of players are not fit, and I get even against Empoli there were a lot of players tired. Who was with cramps? Leiva had cramps, so it's normal that at the end of the matches in this period the team is very tired and cannot play like before. But that's even more important to finish the match before and not bring it to the last minute. As usual, Lazio was very unlucky because the goal Apollon scored was very fortunate. The ball stayed in the box and finished to a player. But in football, it's high level Europe League, and every team is going to give the best, and it's not like 10 years ago where you find easy team in the group phase. No, it's every match is complicated. Alistair, did you hear Simone Inzaghi at the press conference, or you went away before?
Not tonight, no, unfortunately not. Too much of a praise to come and join you, gentlemen.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, basically, he said that Lazio should have finished the match in the first half. The second half, he didn't like it that much. About the changes, he said he will value every match. He'll try to put in the starting team the players that are fresher. Impression of the players who didn't play a lot. Badel, I changed him because he was a little bit tired. Durmisic played really well. Caicedo was one of the best, and even Murgia played really well. On the group, we know that it was very complicated. We know Marsiglia, we know Frankfurt is very tough. Apollon beat Basel in the qualifying, so we know that it was really complicated. And I thought that Apollon played really well. Well, he didn't say nothing special, but he said another thing. I wanted to put Cataldi in. He's training very well, But at that point of the match, I needed Lulic because he had more legs and he could bring the team up more than Cataldi does.
And he knows how to finish off a chance.
Absolutely.
The game.
Absolutely. Before we finish, before I forget, we have to thank Soren Westerby, I hope I pronounced it well, our new patron on our Patreon page, patreon.com/Lazio Lounge. Thanks for your support. Even thanks to you, Alistair is going to buy a new microphone, hopefully. And the quality of our audio will increase, and of our podcast. Now this Genoa.
Are we gonna? Next game.
I lost you there.
I'm here.
Yep.
I was gonna say, are we gonna talk about Genoa, the next game we have?
Well, we don't have that much time, but yes, a little bit. And Genoa, it's always complicated for Lazio. Every time we play against them, we lose. So, is it gonna be different?
We have Marchetti as well to play against.
He's gonna try to do everything to make us pay, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Rami, what's your impression of this match?
I think it's going to be a tough game. Genoa has started well this season. They have 6 points. They won from 3 games. They won 2 and lost 1. So it's going to be tough. It's always tough to play Genoa. And like we said, Marchetti is going to try everything. It's going to be super Marchetti again against us. It always happens when we play ex-goalkeepers. So, but I think we're gonna win. But I hope to improve the performance to improve. I hope Immobile plays better. Milinkovic-Savic. I was gonna ask: is Correa's gonna play since Alberto played today? Does Correa have a chance to start?
I think he will. Honestly, I think Inzaghi was thinking about it, and obviously he would have started tonight if he didn't have the ban. I think he's starting for sure Sunday, even because even tonight, Luis Alberto didn't convince me. He scored, as we said, but I didn't like his performance.
He didn't like coming off as well again.
But if he's not playing that well, he have to accept it.
Yeah.
I think,
yeah, go on.
Yeah, sorry, just looking at the Genoa game, there's a few things to be scared of here. One of which is obviously that they are Lazio's bestia nera. This is the team that we always have problems with. Secondly, you mentioned Marchetti already, but they've also got Pandev and they've got Ballardini. So they've not got any shortage of players who want to make a point against Lazio. And thirdly, they've got this guy, Krzysztof Piaczek, who, I don't know if you've seen much of him, but he's a dangerous player. I mean, he is on fire at the moment, and I think if we're going to give we have in the last few games to that guy, he's not going to be as forgiving. So we're going to need a big game from Acerbi to keep him locked down. So, yeah, it'll be an interesting game. I think it's going to be a step up from the last few, though.
Yeah, one point important to make is Pandev scored every single match against Lazio, I think, since he left us. So we're already starting 1-0 down because Pandev is going to score again. And as well, as Alistair was saying, this guy is on fire. He scored pretty much every match. And, seeing how Bastos and Cáceres played, I'm a little bit concerned, even because Rado is not going to be able to play Sunday. So I believe Cáceres will start again. I don't think Lazio have other options there on the left. So Cáceres must be very concentrated.
Yeah. What do you think, Radu? There has been conflicting reports recently that he's gonna miss the derby. He's injured for a month, and then yesterday or today they said no, it's all good, and he'll be ready for the derby. What do you think is going on?
Well, all good. He said it joking, coming out from the Pateia, that is the clinic Lazio used for this medical test. I don't think he's gonna be able to play Sunday. They hope to see him playing at the derby, but I'm not convinced he's gonna be able to make it.
That's a problem.
Yes and no. Usually, Radu doesn't play very well in the derby. He's too a fan to be calm enough to play in a derby.
But he's better than Pastos and Cáceres, I think.
Yeah, that's the problem. We don't have subs,
Yeah, that's a
and
problem.
I don't know if Felipe, if Ramos will be able to play against Roma. That would be important. Alistair, do you have something to add before we wrap it up?
No, I don't think so. Well, I mean, I should say as well, it was the crowd tonight wasn't great. You know, it wasn't very big, and I think that's probably to be expected for a game like this anyway. But I do think as well that the circumstances didn't help. With I mentioned the early kickoff before. I had an absolute nightmare getting to the stadium today because there was torrential rain for about an hour, and it basically stopped all the public transport. So I couldn't. It took me about an hour to get to the stadium.
You're getting used to Roma.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, so I do hope that, because they're higher profile games, and I don't think that the weather is likely to play as big a part as it probably did tonight as well, because there were definitely more fans in the stadium by the end of the game than there were at the start, so that's something.
Yeah, the time it's unfortunate, and Lazio, all a home match of this season in Europe League are that time, so that's not gonna help. But you know, fans are important. As I said already, they don't score a goal, but obviously they provide support to the rest of the team. Rami, do you have something to say before we close it?
I hope we win Sunday. Unfortunately, I'm not gonna watch the game, but hopefully I'll get I think we're gonna win. I hope.
Crossing fingers. Thank you very much, Rami, to join us. Thanks, Alistair. Remember to follow us on Facebook, on Twitter, to subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, on YouTube, and if you like the show and want to help us, we have our Patreon page, patreon.com/Lazio Lounge. Membership starts at $3, so you know it's really cheap, and you can help us. Alistair can buy a new microphone. We can pay Spreaker and so on, and so that's a very big help for us. We're gonna talk next Sunday after Lazio Genoa. Thank you very much, guys, and have a good night.
Thanks.